Hi, everybody, and welcome to In the Vine with your host, Melly Mel. And today with me, once again, I have
Shekinah.
Oh, wow. You're just going to make me look bad.
Gotta get that princess voice.
And Kat.
And
Jess. Like, what's my name?
I know. One day it's Jess and then it's Jessica, and you don't know who you're going to get today.
Correct.
So today, how are you ladies doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
great.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Fun. All is well. Stop looking at me.
Things are going good. You guys ready for summer or what?
Yeah. I'm on spring break right now, so I'm like,
are you? I had no
wow.
idea.
Yeah, I'm all fun.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm ready for summer. I like long seasons.
Yeah.
So like winter,
We
where
didn't
are
get
you?
winter. Yeah.
I'm the same.
Where are you?
Guys, California didn't get winter this year, like at all. So we're a little sad.
Yeah, we blinked and it was like for 2 days, and
Yeah.
then that's it.
I moved to the mountains and I'm like, where is all the snow
Yeah.
that everybody talks about here?
Yeah.
Lies.
Life.
Sorry.
False
Bad
advertising.
year.
I know. I'm a cold season type of girl too,
Yeah.
but here we are. All right. What are we talking about today? Today we're going to address something that I think all of us are probably going to have dissenting opinions. I don't know. But I want to talk about social media for a little bit as far as the panel question. So let me see how exactly I posed it.
Social media.
So, should you follow each other on social media if you're not official? Why did I ask this? Somebody triggered this question. I don't remember, but what do you ladies think?
I mean, I do. I do. I think, you know what? But that question, I've never even thought of this as a.
Same.
I never considered that to be
Yeah.
a question, to be honest. So you asking it's kind of throwing me off. But I guess if you have to know where you're at. You have to know where, if you get a little obsessive, maybe you control yourself. Maybe you should, if that's a problem, maybe not be on social media at all.
That's
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. I think, but I mean, I do. I mean, but I've never gotten obsessive about it, or it's never been an issue. So it's a weird question to ask, to be honest. But I do. That's my official answer. Yes,
That's your philosophy. Sure.
Yeah. I think so. When I first read this question, I thought you were trying to invoke an answer to another question.
Okay.
But for this question, I think like if it, again, like she kind of said, if you don't have a problem with like over obsessing with people, I think it's totally fine. It's completely innocent. But the question that I thought you were trying to invoke an answer from was, is it okay to post each other on social media before you're official?
Ooh, so that's a good question.
Yeah.
Whatever. Should have told me this off air. Okay.
So let's reroute this question.
We'll come back to that.
Okay,
We'll come
yeah.
back to that. What do you think, Jess?
So ancient times, we didn't have that. And so when we dated it, we didn't. So that was it. The question threw me off because I was like, is this something that people really think about?
Yeah.
But mine is, it's why not? I mean, we friend people for less. Like, hey, I just met you at the supermarket. Think you're
Yeah,
cool. Let's
exactly.
friend each other on Facebook. So if you can't friend request or follow someone on Facebook, that's a red flag. Yeah. Like, if you're like, I don't want you to see my stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'm a little concerned in saying my answer because it's considered a red flag. But for me, for me, it's honestly okay. The question is, should you follow each other if you're not official? Oh, okay. There's such a gray area here. So the pros, right, is it's just social media. Literally, you can just unfollow each other, whatever. Which, by the way, my niece, not Caitlin, my niece Isabel, some time ago, she posted, she's like, can we normalize not being friends on social media and it not being a thing? Like, and I was like, yes, honey. And so yeah, there's like that clear distinction. So that's a pro, right? Like you're I don't know. It's like a way to flirt, right?
Yeah.
But I think also it kind of reminds me of like the podcast, right? How we were just talking how sometimes the person, I remember it also happened with me, this person that I was talking to, they're like, I would rather hear the story from you. And so I think social media, it just creates like this idea of who you are, right? Social media is the way that you present yourself to the world. It's the front stage, it's not the backstage. And so one of the reasons why I think it wouldn't be good until you're official is because it doesn't allow for preconceived notions to enter the relationship. Instead, you are building together behind the scenes. You're building together like who I really am, and what I'm posting, what I'm showing to display, whatever, like it's not gonna come into this bubble yet. And I'm obviously you can probably ask the question, okay, well, what are you posting that is like blah, blah, blah. But then it brings in that question where it's just like, well, how come you're not posting me? How come you're not this? Or, you know what I mean? So it can create a whole plethora of like problems that can come in that to me, it's just like, okay, like maybe let's just tone it back a little bit. Like I don't.
Right. And it goes back to knowing your boundaries, knowing how you can get, and knowing, you know, like, because that's a healthy step. If that's a mindset that you know, okay, I can easily get into that mindset, then yeah, maybe don't follow that person.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this before in previous episodes of social media. It's your page.
Yeah.
You can decide who and what is seen, right? Maybe not what, but who you get to see, you know? So if you don't want to follow somebody, like, it's your social media, you know what I mean? Like, go ahead and do that. And so, but if you don't have that, I don't want to say the word self-control, but I guess self-control would be the right word. If you know, I don't really have that self-control, I'm going to definitely look into this person's life and create an image of who they are. Then yeah, maybe you should just, I'm not going to follow them because I want to get to know them organically.
Yeah.
I think that's a very healthy mindset, but I don't think that everyone has that struggle, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it just goes back to knowing where you're at, who you are, and how you're going to respond to these things. And I think you're a perfect example of that, because the amount of times like you fast social media regularly because you know, okay, this is consuming my mind. I'm going to just take myself off of it. Not everybody has that self-control.
No.
So if you don't have that self-control, then yeah, maybe taking the opportunity and disciplining yourself, going, I'm just going to get to know you organically before I get onto your social media, I think is a very healthy mindset. But you just have to know where you're at.
Yeah. I don't think either is good or bad. It's just like you said, like just knowing where you're at. And I think it's exactly what you said, like the boundaries and stuff. You just got to know who you are, what you're doing, and your purpose. Okay, so when is a good time to start posting each other?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Well, I know like with the person that I was dating, it's just like people have like different what's the word? Like purposes to like what they post. Like a lot of people I know, like we're in college, like we just post like stupid stuff and we're just funny people like that. Like I know we'll post stuff and you're like, what does that mean? Like it's supposed to not make sense. You're like, that's so weird, why would you do that? But some people are also like, I would rather keep the relationship private. Like there's a lot of people I know, especially young Christian women, where they're like, I'm not going to post him until I have a ring on my hand, and that's when everybody's going to be surprised. And like if you want to do that, that's okay, like, because I mean social media, like that can like bring a lot of topics to other people and they're like talking about it, and that could like bring something into your relationship. But I think some people, like a lot of like the people of our church, like they're just private, like they're private accounts. It's only for friends and family. Only like my cousin and my friend are going to see this. Like that's realistically all that it is. So I'm okay with posting that because like they know me intimately. So even to like the question we were first answering, like the answer you said, I'm like, that's very valid and that's very understandable. But I feel like certain ages treat it very differently. Like I know, again, that's going back to me and my friends, like we just post stupid stuff and it's funny. And so like if I were, let's say like brand new, like somebody who's talking to somebody, like I know in my age group, they'd be like, oh, I'd follow them because like I know what they're posting isn't really them. I know that social media is fake. I know it's not a true reflection of what they are, and that we can even make a joke of it, like when we're talking and getting to know each other. So yeah, it's just like how people view it and going back to what's their purpose with it.
Thanks for making
That was a really good.
I know, same. She's like, it just depends on your age. And I'm like,
we're 5 years apart.
Yeah, 100%.
We're both in our 20s, Kat.
I was like,
just kidding.
The baby of the group over here.
Yeah. All right.
back in MySpace.
How come I'm not in your top 8?
And it goes with like,
Good times.
do you remember when the whole thing was like, are we Facebook official? Like,
Yeah.
And when people would be like, your relationship status changed. Like it was like a blast to the world.
Dude.
It's not official till
Or
it's Facebook.
it's complicated.
official.
Oh my,
my
why is it
gosh.
complicated? Tell us.
Exactly.
Social media ruined like the whole
Dude, it really did. It really
100%,
did. No,
yeah.
it should have come with terms and conditions as far as like mental health, like
warning.
things. Yeah, for sure.
So I want to know with you, what's
Melissa.
Posting your partner, what stage is that appropriate?
I'm trying to be more, okay, what I would like to be is somebody that's just like, dude, like you're just posting for the sake of posting, right? Like how you were mentioning. But who I really am is very intentional. A lot of things that I do they have a purpose behind it. So if I post you is because it's because you're meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And I don't do that often with a lot of people. I don't even post myself sometimes. I just be posting scripture and things like that. So if I post somebody, then it's a big deal, in my life. Yeah. Because I'm exposing you to my friends and my family.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? Did you
No,
leave?
I'm actually in this kind of in the same boat as you. I have I used to have a private page, but then because of my job, International School of Ministry, check it out. But because of my job, because of In the Vine, because of my illustration work, I put it as I got a new public page. And so there's a whole different dynamic. Like I'm not just posting, and I'll post, like I posted I post my nieces and nephew all the time. Yeah. I freaking love them. So I definitely post, I post, a lot of businesses, what I'm doing in my work. And again, people who are very close to me, if I'm like, this is a public statement, this is my family, this is somebody I love. But yeah, so just the casual dating stage, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
If we would decide to be an official like couple, even that I get like the beginning stages, I'll be like, am I willing to announce to the world that we're together? But it also just comes to, are you guys in agreement?
Yeah.
If the person I'm dating is not comfortable with that, that's fine too.
Yeah.
So it's for me, I have a very public page and I'm representing a lot of different people as well on my page. So I'm very intentional about, okay, what am I posting? Is it appropriate? Will the ministries I'm working for be okay with this?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot more intentionality behind it for me personally. But private
Makes
pages,
sense.
I think totally
Do what you
shift
want.
that. I just don't have
stuff,
private pages, to be honest.
Yeah.
I got rid of my private pages because I have so many pages I'm managing right now.
I always that was it you that I complained to. I'm like, why do people have different pages and then share the same thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
Yeah, and I started doing
get
that at the
it.
beginning, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah,
what's
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like-
exactly. So I just got rid of my private page. I was just like, it was so old. It was from like when I was a teenager. Anyway.
Oh, the tiny kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It depends on content. Like, so
Yeah.
I have different pages for the activism because I'm
Yeah.
not going to
True.
show them my,
Yeah.
my morning coffee.
But you
on
keep
the-
it categorized.
Yes.
You keep it
Yeah.
categorized, which is fair. And like, clearly I'm about to go on a rant here. Here we go. But it's just like, bro, like,
You have
why
your
am I-
business page and you have your personal page, and you're
Yeah.
posting the exact same thing
Yeah.
on both. It's like,
come on.
I get it. I'm right there
But
with you.
I get both sides of the coin, high key.
Yeah.
Like, cause I think even like sharing with In the Vine stuff and my personal page, sometimes I'm like, but it's all the same people. Like,
Yeah.
it's all literally, there might be like 10 different people and I'm sure they follow the page too. And if not, they already know. So I'm like, clearly I'm not a great marketer. I will say that about myself. But anyway, that's just me. That's just my thoughts. I'm not saying that's good or bad. Okay. Do with it as you please. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today, ladies? Actually, today I'm going to take my foot off the steering wheel and I'm going to let Shekinah
Buckle up,
drive.
Kat. Buckle up.
I'm
Because
ready for this.
this is her topic. So, Shekinah,
Does she kind of know it's her topic?
it's in purple. She knows.
Does she know?
We're ready. Okay. Now, the question I asked was, how do you avoid, and this is something I want you guys to contemplate, how do you avoid offenses while dating? And so that obviously, there's so many different avenues and routes we can take.
Elaborate.
For me personally, this came from the thought. So this navigated from the thought of fantasizing, creating a fantasy of this person, and specifically not allowing yourself to wait too long to date or to ask somebody out on a date or let somebody know how you feel, because it just opens the door for fantasy to come in. And you create this idea of who they are, what they like, what jokes they might find funny. You know what I mean? Like, you get stuck in your head about who this person is because they're across the room and you're fantasizing who they are, or their social media, what they post. So you create this idea of who they must be. And then when you get together, you find out this person is nothing like that. And so there's a lot of different offenses that can take place in that route of you get together with this person that you've had a crush on for so long. You finally got the nerve to ask them out, and they're just nothing like you
They
imagined.
don't meet your expectations.
They don't meet your expectations. They're nothing like you imagined. whatever it is. And so there's a lot of different things that can happen with that scenario, or you never get, I almost said, you never get the strength, the courage,
the cojones, you could say.
Yeah, thank you. You never get the courage to actually ask them out. They go out with somebody else. Now your heart's broken. This person that you've been in love with for all this time is going out with somebody else. I've also seen that. And so that's where the question came, how do you avoid offenses while dating? For me, that was a topic that I wanted to kind of rant about, which I just did. But if there's any other like thoughts or ideas that you guys have in regards to that, I would like to hear that.
That's good.
I think like, so I just want to like ask a question just for clarity, because you're saying the word offenses and I'm imagining something else, but what you're describing is like disappointment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
So
there you go. Yeah. How do you avoid disappointment
okay.
in a dating relationship?
I thought you were going to
So I think it depends on the person. Like,
Yeah.
everybody here knows I'm a very aggressive personality.
Are you?
So-
I don't know. It's actually why we invited you on the show.
So I'm always like, ain't nobody got time. Like, if you like somebody, tell somebody. You know, everyone says life is too short. And so, I mean, we've all seen the rom-coms, right? Where
Yeah.
they're like the scenario of, oh, I love this guy forever and I've just never had the guts to tell him. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why not? And it drives me
Exactly.
nuts, because I'm just like, if you have feelings for, or even friends, like I've had people where I'm like, I think you're great, I think we should be friends, and they're like, yeah, totally, like,
Yeah.
let's be friends. It's say what you mean, or say, or mean what you say. Say what
Be
you
direct.
mean. Be direct, because ain't nobody got time
Yeah.
to like pedal around your feelings and your
Yeah.
emotions sometimes, and then you create the illusion
Yeah.
of what you envision it to be because of fear and anxiety and fear of rejection, right? Because that's why a lot of people
Yeah.
don't approach, is
Yeah.
because they're like, they're going to say no. Okay, so then you're no
Right.
better off than what you were when you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you get that fantasy out of your head. Well, now you know for sure. And now you can work on moving on.
Yeah.
And it goes back to identity. If you know who you are and you're confident in who God has called you to be, if this person does say no and they're not interested, you know who you are. You can walk away with confidence like, well, now I know. Now I can move on. And I'm not offended. I'm not hurt by that. And I can just... I have, it's just a common thing. You
Yeah.
get the girlfriend that's just like, oh my gosh, I really like this guy, but I'm not sure what he thinks about me. And I'm just like,
the Delulu comes in.
yes, exactly. And so like everything that he does, he looks at me my way, like he totally likes me,
He's
and-
looking at the fly on the wall.
yeah, exactly. Like, and
Homeboy's
you
thinking
create
about
this
his truck.
whole illusion. And I'm that friend, same thing. And I'm just like, go talk to him.
Why are we waiting?
Why are you talking to me about this? Like, go
Right.
talk to him. I can't do that, and it's like,
I am the complete opposite. I will tell you now.
I was
will
talking
tell you
about
now.
Melissa. I just didn't want to say it.
At me, bro. I am that girl. I am the one that, and that's why it's been so key for me these past like couple years for me to put purpose over fantasy, if that makes sense. Like, okay, does purpose align? Does this and that? Is this really what you want, or is this something that you're settling for? Blah 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 blah. But even in that, I remember one time, a mentor of mine, I was having like these crazy thoughts, whatever. And she was like, okay. So she brought the dude in and was like, do you yes or no? He was like, no. And I was like, yeah.
Done.
I was like, all right.
Oh, I kind of like the approach.
Yeah. I was like,
little
well,
much.
damn, like that sucked, This was many years ago, by the way. Very, very, very
Me taking
pivotal.
notes, like,
Very
how aggressive
pivotal.
I need to
So, but this was after like months of Melissa Chavez going back and forth in her head. So I appreciate the method, although in the moment I just wanted the earth to open
Yeah.
up. Yeah. But yeah, I think making false scenarios in your head goes back to like the self-prophecy that we were talking about in episode 5, right? Where you start over romanticizing. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Over romanticizing your encounters with the opposite sex, or you start not romanticizing, like, I don't know. But yeah, I think just cutting the crap and just making a decision to be like, hey, you know what? Do you? Yes or no? Are you interested? Yes or no? Yeah. Easier said than done. Have not reached that level of I don't care. Like, I really have not. But I'm also not dating at the moment, so I'm in a cool spot, But it was funny because I did recently. God has just been so funny, and so this gentleman asked me. He's like, I just don't know, like, if I'm supposed to like ask you on a date or not. And so, because the way that things transpired and stuff. And so then me, because I'm such in a place where it's just like, bro, like I'm good. I was like, you need to pray about that because like I don't, you know.
I can't answer that for you.
I can't answer for you because I know where I'm at and I know that for me, the answer is automatically no. But I also know that the way that this happened is weird. So I'm open to whatever God wants to do. But that's it. I didn't give it more time. I didn't give it any less time. I was just like, whatever the Lord wants, like it's going to come to pass. So I'm just chilling, you know? And so I've learned that, right? Because now I don't fixate myself on what if I'm missing it? Or I don't fixate myself on what if this could be it? Like now I'm just like, bro, like I'm walking. If you're coming, you're coming. If not, we're good, you know? And so I think that's helped me avoid a lot of disappointment after experiencing a lot of disappointment of creating like these false scenarios in my head. Because your girl is very imaginative, an overthinker, textbook overthinker for sure. So
what would you, so because we're polar opposites, I can't really give advice in that area. What would you give advice to the men and women who so easily fantasize about a potential partner and getting out of that place? And what advice would you give to them?
Learn to be like Shekinah and Jess.
Hi.
Yeah. You need friends like this around.
You're cute.
Honestly, that's what's helped me. Learning from people and identity. I know we're beating the freaking horse, right, to death all over again. Poor horse. But to me, that's what's helped me is having no longer an identity crisis, praise God, and realizing and being around friends that, you know, if it hurts, okay, tomorrow will come still, you know? So you're going to have to choose your heart. Choose your heart of being disappointed because you're over fantasizing, or choose your heart of finding out the answer and moving on.
Yeah, that's good.
There's no way around it. There literally is no way around it. I don't know. What do you think, Kat? Sorry. I don't know how to let go of control.
I don't know. I'm kind of like on the same boat with you of like I overthink everything and like it's much easier to imagine in my head than rather to do anything. But I think it's just going back to like get out of yourself and get into God in that of like, okay, like God, what is actually happening? Because like there have been times where I text her and I'm like, I'm telling you that I am doing this so I do not go down a spiral, so I do not look at this and make up stories in my head, and I'm letting you know that this is very hard, but I'm choosing what God, like what would Jesus do in this situation?
Accountability.
Yes, like having that accountability and like to like people who you trust and also to the Lord, because I just like had a whole trail. Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting things. But it's like getting out of myself and getting to God with like what is actually happening versus what I'm making, because I can only address what's happening. I can't address what could happen. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I think
and I like that. And again, I love accountability. That's another dead horse that we beat pretty regularly on this show is accountability. And you know, and so again, like me and Jess were very forward. Like if I like you, I'm just, whether it doesn't matter. It's not just a guy. It's just like in general. I'm like, if you're somebody that I want to build a relationship with, or you're potentially somebody that I want to hang out with, I just, hi, my name is, you know. And I had to learn that. I was naturally a shy kid, but you know, you grow up in a house full of very what's the networking type A networking individuals. My parents, they're pastors, like that doesn't fly. So I learned very quickly, look them in the eye, say hello. And so that was something that had to be taught and developed. So it can be taught and it can be developed. Absolutely. So I'm not really an extrovert. I am by nature an introvert, but I can be extroverted. And that was taught. And so, yeah, that's something I put into practice recently. You guys know, there was a young man in the church that came in and I took notice.
She did?
Yes, I did. I took notice and I went straight to him and I said, hi. And I made a point, and it took a couple weeks, but he eventually asked for my number, asked me to take me out, but I had to make myself available first. And I think that's just something that so many men and women struggle with, is making themselves available, you know, and especially women, they do the whole like talk to their girlfriends and get on their phone and close themselves off. And we've talked about it before on our show is gentlemen are going to recognize that you're closed off and they are going to keep their distance because clearly she's making a point. She's not interested. And so women get, why isn't he talking to me? Why isn't he coming over? He doesn't know that you want him to. You know?
Or when he walks by, you run away.
Exactly. Or you like duck behind the pews or whatever, you know what I mean? And so that's an aspect of fear you kind of got to get over, and pride, really, because I've I've talked to women who are just like, well, if he's interested, he should just come over and talk to me, you know? And it's like, I agree that a man should take a lead, you know, as far as asking you out and getting your number, but he's not going to know that he even has the permission to do so or the chance to do so if you're walking away every chance he says hello, you know?
Especially if you're in your domain, like that's already a huge...
Oh yeah, for sure. He was coming into my church, like, you know, and so I was just buzzing around doing my thing, and then I went,
oh, hey.
I can't wait to share the story because Shekinah, at first she was like, oh, and then all of a sudden she's like, hello.
Yeah,
and
it
I was
just
like,
clicked.
Shekinah.
I don't know. It just clicked one day, and I was like, he's been coming for a couple weeks, and he just clicked one
All
day.
of
And I
us
was just
doing
like,
recon.
by the way, I did ask. I was like, do I have permission to talk? You know, I was like, I have a podcast on dating. I just want you to know your field research, and he was cool with it. So
Going back to social media, when is the good time to share? You know?
so no more details now. We're at the very, very, very beginning stages. So, but it's just going back to that. Don't create a fantasy. I didn't hold myself back. I wonder what he's like. Why are you wondering? Just go talk to him. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of scary. It's a very vulnerable place to be in, but it bears good results because whether they're interested or not interested, you now know.
Yeah.
And you know that you don't have to focus on that place and be stuck in that fantasy, which will inevitably lead to disappointment. Because even if at some point you do go out with this person, they could be very different than what you imagine in your head. So all the way around, avoid that disappointment. Just make yourself available and see where this person's at.
Yeah,
right.
And like a point that I want to jump off of that of like why people, I think it's easier to like make the fantasies and just stay there and stay in that place. It's because people are like, obviously nobody wants to go after her and nobody wants to chase pain and like anything in that area. But something that I know in the Vine has been like said, like make yourself open to that, and anything in life that's going to come, like choose your heart of like what it is. But it's like also be open, like that could be a real possibility and it's not going to feel nice, but it's what's gonna, like, it's the truth of what will happen, and in the end, like, it'll be okay, like you'll be fine. But don't do that just because you're avoiding hurt and suffering, even though you're still hurting and suffering in that.
Well, like,
Good point.
your friends, your husband, you're gonna get hurt because we're all human, and so it's realizing that it's gonna, like, at the end of the day, it's gonna happen. But being single, like, I'm not obviously single, but you have to make yourself available. If you're nobody at this table, but if you want to, like, you're saying I want someone, I want to find someone. If you're not making yourself available, then you ain't.
Like,
It's like those reels, you just sitting in your house in your pajamas and your blanket,
where it's like you pray to God, I need to find a man, and then they're hoping that he just drops at the front door.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Ding
not
dong.
gonna happen.
Finally.
It happened for Shekinah. No kidding. God, won't you do it? Can he do it? Amen.
But if you're not making yourself available and showing the other person who you are, your personality. And
No, I will say that I was observing my friend in the way that she navigated this, and I was like, okay, Shakay, I see you, and it was really during that episode that we filmed where it's just like, okay, be willing to sit with the awkwardness, be willing to sit through that. And it was cool because I was seeing Shekinah literally do it, right?
I took our own advice, guys.
Yeah.
It works. It's working.
It's working. And so it's true. It's never gonna be, well, it can be. Sometimes it can be explosive, but I have this saying that when people come in like shooting stars, like, you got to be careful because those are already dead and burning out. Like, people come in and then it's like, wow, it's beautiful, it's majestic, and they're literally on their way to death, and so I'm always careful with people that come in strong. I tend to be more open to people that are a little bit more timid, a little bit more careful. And I really appreciated being able to witness, and still am witnessing the way that you guys are navigating like this courtship.
It's slow. It's slow.
Yeah.
By the time this episode's released, I don't even know where we'll be, but I can tell you the beginning stages, and it's just, again, we're just at that, what's your favorite color stage? It's like what our first episode of the season was, of just navigating it slow and letting God take the lead. And like I said, and what we mentioned, accountability. I remember the very first time I took notice of him, I looked at my parents and I was like, like that one, I'm gonna go make myself available. And my parents are the best wingmen ever. That very next Sunday, they invited out to lunch. So
Hey, Robin Peanut, I'm telling you.
my parents are like, not everyone's parents are like this, so I'm sorry, but my parents are the best wingmen. I tell them, I'm just like, I like that one. I'm gonna go make myself available, and my dad's like, on it.
I got you.
And they literally become like the best friends.
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure. So yeah, but and it's not just have to be your parents, but it could be your friends. It could be people around you that grab the extroverts in your life.
Yes.
I got you, girl.
Yes.
Yeah, we got Jess. Let them know if you need help. You know, hey, I'm interested in this person. The extroverts will get you, man.
And that like reminds me of Mav and Jules' story of like the grandma that was helping Jules
We all
that
need a little
accountability and that
friend. Yeah.
community. Like that's great. Like don't try to just like hide yourself in here because that's not like you need to be out in the garden in the sun for things to grow.
Yes.
So,
I love
Good
it.
point. Good point. Good point. Anything else? I don't know.
It was like, weird. Like I wasn't prepped to take on this episode, so feel free.
Go.
Who's? Oh, am I doing the tip of the week?
Oh yeah.
Or are we done? Does anyone have any final
hold on.
comments? Any final?
Let me look.
I will say this like random thing that kind of doesn't have anything to do with this, but
Go
what it made me think of when I read the like your prompt was I remember I was watching this reel and the girl was like, these are questions that I tend to ask guys like when I'm dating. I don't know if it was satire, if she was like for real, but she's like, one of the questions was, do you secretly hate women? And it got me good because I'm like, no, it's true. Like there's guys that are so, and women too, right? That are like such narcissists
Yes.
that they really hate the opposite sex. They just want somebody that they can control.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, like that is so freaking good because there is that underlying, right? In certain people where it's just like they're entering a relationship and it's just like, do you even like me? Like, like what's going on here, you know? And people that tend to be like that are people that really hate themselves. And so I just wanted to throw that out because it made me think of that.
No, it's good. Identifying the narcissist. We need to do a whole podcast. I could
Dude,
pop
I
off
can-
on
we
that.
could- 3-hour episode
Why
on-
haven't we done that?
on how to spot the
Sheesh.
narcissist.
All right, so there we go. It's gonna coming to you guys
Next
soon.
few episodes, yeah.
Next season, we're gonna talk about that one.
No.
Several parts to that.
Episode 9 or 10. Is
Yeah,
gonna be about
okay, there we
narcissists.
go.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. But anyway, so I think that was good, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for letting me
that
take
was
the lead.
good. Thank you. Sorry, I'll be better.
What's your tip?
Okay. My tip, it's totally off topic of what we're talking about, but my tip for y'all listeners is go on a social media fast for 1 week, at least 5 days.
At least.
At least 5 days of zero social media, completely log off and get an accountability.
Yes.
At one point, I did a 6-month-long one, and I had my mom change my password, so I would have to go to her for the password. So yeah, just do it. See what happens. See the one, you're going to reveal some things about you, maybe some struggles that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Maybe it's easy for you, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
But I would there's just so much healing that takes place. There's a whole new world that opens up when you fast social media. I fast it regularly. Guys, I highly suggest it. At least 5 days, or maybe start doing 1 day a week. You don't log in on social media and you do something else instead.
Yeah.
So something to think about. I highly suggest it. It's it could be really difficult for some people, but there's a lot of healing that takes place.
For sure.
I agree. And just so you guys know, just if it's not posted, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Like you can literally have a memory that's
what?
private.
I know. I was
Yeah.
like, you can.
Yeah, so you're good. Not everybody needs to know. You're fine. Clearly, social media has been.
No, but it's true.
Yeah,
It's
but
true.
it's
Tone
great.
is like, did it even happen?
Did it-
You didn't
yeah.
tag me in it. And that's
I have
just-
like me. I always post my lattes. Like
Same.
that's my go-to. And I'm like, this is a really cute latte. Oh, everyone's got to know.
Everybody's gotta know.
Everyone's
Yeah.
got to know. Look at that little art there. They did a
Beautiful.
good job. But the art was still there. I still experienced a good latte. I don't have to post it. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that. I take pictures and there's things that I'm like, I don't need social media to know. Text Shekinah and I'll
Yeah. And I've gotten in the habit of that too. Of like, are there individual people who would appreciate this or think it's funny or whatever?
Yeah.
And like, so
So
I
it
send it
doesn't-
directly to them, and it's more personable that
And
way.
it's funnier.
good.
Yeah.
You can,
Actually engage.
engage.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, excellent. I don't know how to close this out.
Thank
Melissa,
you, Shekinah.
would you like to close this out for us today?
Thank you, Shekinah, for taking the wheels on this one.
Sort of.
I think this episode was a little like off the hinges.
I think
so
so.
many
Just
ways.
off the railroad, but off the tracks.
You're welcome.
Off the tracks. There you go.
If y'all aren't laughing with us,
Yeah. And then what's wrong with you? Come on. All right. So now, Jess. Thank you, Jess, for joining us for these clump of episodes. It was great to have you. You delivered exactly what I knew you would. Exactly. I wish I knew how to do the Trump thing. But we just appreciate you. We hope that you had fun.
I did.
Good. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Thank you, Kat. Something tells me you're going to be back. So we appreciate you. And that's it. From us to you. Merry Christmas. Bye.